Welcome back to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I'm Boston Brazel, and you have found yourself one match away from the end of a Major League Soccer season. It is almost time to relax and then slowly allow each new signing, bit by bit, to build up your hope meter again. But let's not get us ahead of ourselves. FC Cincinnati still has one home match left, and it is versus Atlanta United. I once traveled to Atlanta in our second MLS match ever and watched a draw. How crazy does that seem now? Maybe it is because the club most of you hold dear is on an 11-match losing streak, and when you are at the bottom, it is hard to see the top. Last week, I waxed poetic about how things can't stay bad forever, and if you need a pick-me-up, stop this show and go listen to that, and then come back, because today is all about pushing through and just getting this season over with, because we have some fun stuff happening in Cincinnati this fall. This fall, you get to swap that orange for red and cheer for a team that has a chance at TQL Stadium. We have a lot of cool surprises in store, and there is more on that later in this show. But first, I need to introduce our interesting cast. How do I want to do this? I think for our longtime listeners, you have wondered where he has been. Did he drum his way off the show? Did he get lost trying to find the new stadium this year? Mr. Bill, wait for it. Wolf, how you doing, man?
I am good. I did not get lost going to the stadium. If anybody's been there, it seems like I'm on the big screen like way too often. So, in fact, it was a drinking game that Nick started before he retired from here was how many times he drank was how many times he saw me on the screen. So yeah, definitely found TQL. Been a little busy with work, COVID and new job and all that fun stuff. So but I'm here. I've been at most of the games other than, a few where I had to travel for work, but yeah, it's all good. Pushing through. I think it's going to be our motto for the game, for this show, pushing through.
That's right. I know you've been missed around here. Work has taken you away from us, and we are sad about it, but we are happy to bring you back. Your deep wisdom for everyone who enjoys been needed, sir.
Okay. I have very little wisdom right now, other than just push through. So.
My next co-host is probably more excited about the next coming weeks than anyone I know. He took me to my first ever U.S. versus Mexico match, a decision which may have been the fall of Dos Cicero. How was your Halloween, sir?
Good, man. Got to take the kids out. Had a lot of candy, and it was a great time. Of course, ruined by the match that was, but other than that, no, it was a great time. And yes, taking you to that game was a very, very poor idea. Did we lose you at points throughout that? I think that we lost you at the tailgate that day. I don't know if you guys know, if you ever take Boston anywhere, he just ghosts you for like 2.5 hours, and you're just like, where'd that guy go? Missed you.
Yeah, but I love to talk to strangers, and I love alcohol, and those two things mix in a weird way. And so I disappear on my friends. It's been known to happen. But if you do see me wandering around, just say hi and take me around. I'll follow you.
Yeah, we're going to have this week, we're actually going to tattoo Kana's phone number back on his back somewhere on a shirt or whatever, just, if lost, return to sender. So.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're going to get him like a little harness, so we could keep him on a leash. And
I don't know if that'll work. I'll probably break free. We have brought you a couple new CST hosts this past few weeks, and I would again this week, but chances are you have read some of our next co-hosts' really, really awesome articles on CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. But for the first time on audio, welcome Mr. Nate Gilman to the show.
Hi. Yeah, great to be here. Finally, it was a long time coming.
Yeah, we appreciate everything you do, especially because some of us, like myself, struggle to write anything anybody wants to read whatsoever. I did share your recent article on FCC goalkeeping on Reddit. I don't know if you ever get a chance to go over there, but they thought you did some very good work.
Well, thanks. I wish it was a happier subject. But definitely something I found interesting. I had no intention of writing about that. I was all ready to write about Brandon Vasquez and how nice of a end of the season he was having, but it was very poor. Let's just say that in case you haven't had a chance to take a look.
Well, before you dig into your worst, I'm going to ask you your best and worst. We'll start with the Bryan Weigel. What do you have for us this week?
How about some honesty, some truth?
Truth bomb?
Yes. I guess captain for a match, Jeff Cameron, coming out with some criticism, some well-needed truth about his teammates and what's going on with FC Cincinnati. So I wanted to applaud him for those comments. Please go check out FC Cincinnati's Twitter if you can to listen to Jeff and basically just full disclosure, guys aren't getting it done. They're not doing what they need to do. They're not getting creative. They're not doing the necessary things to win. So hopefully that hits home. Maybe we see a little bit of an improvement versus Atlanta, but I know that darn well sent a message to ownership, to management. So good on Jeff. And I really hope that, he continues to maybe wear that armband and continue with more leadership. So that's my best. The worst is kind of singling out an individual, one of the young guys that I really had high hopes for this season, and he just hasn't been able to take it to the next level. I was hoping he would do a little bit more in this match this past weekend, but Alvaro Barreal. We need these young guys in these U22 spots to continue to see improvement and not regress. And I don't know what the deal is. We've been trying to put our thumb on it since June. But what has been going on with this guy? I know, Nate, you've written about it a little bit here and there. Is it because he's not playing with Joao anymore? But is he one of those guys Jeff Cameron was singling out? I think it's very possible. So just unfortunate. I would hope to see more. I know it's kind of cruel and tough to single out a young guy like that, but he's one of the pieces that we all talk about. Okay, is he going to be a building block for the future? And man, I'm just not sure as I once was.
Well, those are truth bombs. And I agree with you. A good leader needs to call his team out. You get a lot of loyalty, especially in a players' union, a team locker room, and you don't want that too early in the season usually. But Jeff Cameron really picking, I think, a good moment to break out what he needed to say. All right, Bill. It's been a while, so I'm sure you have a season's worth of best and worst to lay on us.
Oh, I don't know about a season's worth, but just kind of following right behind Bryan on Barreal. I think I'm with you on that one. It's not somebody that I've been as happy with, as we saw him earlier in the season. I mean, I think he was really exciting. He scored several goals. He seemed to really take players on, and then something changed, and he is definitely not playing it with the same energy that he had earlier on. But anyway, my best, since I guess we're starting with the best, is maybe a little bit off the field a little bit. But, a lot of people have been talking about how miserable it has been this season. They've talked about how upset they are with players, with the club, with the coaches, with the GM, you name it. I think for me, what I think was kind of happy to hear was a lot of people when they went to do some of the, not so much the renewals, but the seat changing, right, where they could go and pick new seats to sit in. A lot of people were finding there weren't as many empty seats as they thought there was going to be. And I think that's really good news for Cincinnati. It doesn't necessarily mean that people are happy, but it means that fans at least are willing to give us another year. And I think that, obviously maybe getting a new GM in might have spurred some of that on, I hope. Maybe people are seeing the changes, but overall, just, the sense that Cincinnati hasn't given up yet. And I think that's really great to hear and great to see that Cincinnati is still embracing this team, at least financially. And we'll hope that continues and the product improves.
I don't know about that, Bill. I think that's the worst. I wanted to slide down 6 seats and no one left the first financial section.
Exactly. And those are the comments I'm hearing from people, right? Like, I wanted to sit closer to my friends and I couldn't get a seat, which is, unfortunate for you, Boston, but is really good. It's good for the club, obviously, or maybe it's good for the city. We'll hope that the club itself rebounds, on the pitch, which is where we're obviously lacking. But anyway, for the worst, I think, I got to go to that Nashville game. And, it was obviously a home game. all the fans were there. Not all the fans, but a lot of fans were there, more than I expected, honestly, on a Wednesday, especially considering our record at this point. And we actually started to look really good. You know, we got some good ref calls in our favor. We got a couple PKs. We actually managed to get one in. We'll talk about the second one. Maybe that should be somebody else's worse. But you know, 3-1, right? And then in the end of the first half, all of a sudden the old FCC came back. And that was so frustrating to see. Just, it was almost like when that second goal went in for Nashville, you just knew that we were in trouble. And the whole second half, right, we gave up 4 goals. So it's like the story of this season for us. You know, it is the hope that kills you. And I feel like, you know, that game, especially with Nashville being a rival that it is, some of the lack of security on FCC's part to allow some of their fans to have a little bit more freedom than they really should have, honestly, which would also go into my worst. I think that game in general was a pretty massive bad moment for this club. Maybe one of the worst. So.
Yeah, I was not pleased with that either. I don't know if a ton of people know what we're talking about, but the Nashville fans were able to somehow move down to the really make their own Bailey kind of on the other side.
Well, it started before kickoff. They you know, anywhere that you go in MLS, right, there's a time that away fans are supposed to be in the stadium. They're usually escorted by security. They have to be in their seats, and they have to stay in their seats at least 45 minutes after a kick or the game has ended, right? And you know, these are kind of basic security rules in MLS. And they were actually on the main concourse or the main entrance, the whatever you want to call it, the East Pavilion, while the Bailey and the supporters groups came marching in, and they were trying to chant over top of our supporters. And you know, I mean, fortunately, we're not a violent crowd, right? But, you know, I mean, if we were prone to that kind of violence, it could have got really, really ugly. It was just kind of dumb on their part, but really kind of dumb in general that we allowed it to happen.
Fair enough. Nate, you're new. Throwing the best and worst at you hot and fast, but
Yeah.
maybe you have something ready.
Yeah. So I think both my best and worst come from the match last night. So obviously setting a new MLS losing streak record, taking that from a 2005 RSL team, should be a worst. But also at the same time, just the general futility of FCC's attack. So obviously missing Lucho Acosta and Ronald Matarrita, you're losing 2 of your key pieces in progressing the ball forward and finding runners and creating danger. But they really did nothing. And then add on top of that, just, you know, the same defensive lapses and mistakes that we've seen for, you know, the entire time that this club has been in MLS is, you know, still frustrating. My best also somehow comes out of last night, and that's just looking across the field at the Philadelphia Union. And you know, if you're going to be picking a team in MLS to build or to base your rebuild on, you can't really do much worse, or you can't do much better than the Union. And, you know, Chris Albright has his fingerprints all over that rebuild, a heavy emphasis on youth. And those kids were showing out yesterday. They were great. Paxton Aronson scored again. Who knows? He might be better than his brother, which is crazy considering that Brendan Aronson might be starting, you know, later this month against Mexico at TQL. So it might not be a quick rebuild, but if you're going to be looking for somebody to lead this club in the right direction, finally, we could do a lot worse than ending up, you know, where Philly is right now.
Well, I agree. Philly, I actually was a little surprised with the 2-0 game, especially after such a poor showing in the previous 2. And then coming out of Nashville and just losing all momentum or hope, I guess. Philly is what, number 2 now? They've stolen it from Nashville. Is that something to be happy about?
Proud of, absolutely.
It feels weird.
Hey,
I mean,
man.
it just feels weird saying it.
Yeah, we threw that game just to make sure that they
Absolutely.
got ahead of Nashville.
Oh man, I guess my best though is that we only lost by 2. That is actually a good thing after the. I mean, I wouldn't have said that a month ago, but it is just the way things have been going. I felt like the team has just quit, and so it was nice to see that they could hold up against a second place team in the East, a Philly team that is really, really good, especially without Acosta and running a few different things on the field. They didn't have any attack. That part was awful, but they were able to hold up, I guess, defensively, and they looked a little bit better prepared. I guess my worst is that I kind of worry that the quick fixes aren't so quick. We will have to really, really have a great offseason, I think, to put things back on the pitch for, I guess, a Bruce Arena style turnaround. But
Can I elaborate on that real quick?
yeah, sure.
You know, it's kind of amazing with FC Cincinnati. You know, Jason Davis asked us to kind of give some thoughts on an article in ESPN that he's working on FC Cincinnati, and I had made mention that how when we first started with FC Cincinnati, we were trying to do that domestic player, the familiar league player. Of course, we didn't build the right players, and we didn't have a 10, so there's a lot of issues there. The right overall leadership, but it's amazing how we went from domestic and then quick change to international, and we kind of went for that gun for hire last year. And then I think Gerard kind of understood the league a little bit better this year, and we saw a little bit better player come in. You know, no results to it, but now we're going back to maybe that domestic side. So I'm very interested to see how these quick fixes, if there is a quick fix, I mean, he's going to, Chris Albrecht's going to have to hit on these guys. It's not going to be a quick turnaround. I mean, we're probably going to be taking lumps again next year. Hopefully not as bad, but it's going to be very interesting to see how he manages this roster retool, because that's what it is, versus what Nijkamp did in early 2020.
Well, the U.S. men's national team game is coming up, and we have events with an S happening.
Yeah, we do.
As things come up. And the first thing we want to tell you about is you can join your fellow FC Cincinnati and USA fans on Wednesday, November 10th, last call trivia at Northern Row. This will be a special event, kind of unofficial though. Just CST, a lot of fans, Pat Brennan, Laura Failer, I think maybe even a couple other people you might recognize for this unofficial kickoff of USA versus Mexico match festivities. Join us, form a team up to 8 players, and see if you can beat your fellow FCC fans in trivia. Northern Row is located at 111 West McMicken Avenue. We hope to see you on the 10th.
Yeah, guys, if you can't come out, it's going to be a fun time. Again, season's over. We're going to have fun, kind of a last hurrah as FC Cincinnati fans building into the U.S. men's national team game that weekend. So come out to Northern Row, great supporters bar. They're going to be a great partner with AO this weekend and in the pre-match festivities, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So, yeah, join us trivia night next Wednesday, the 10th.
I feel like we have a lot to get to tonight, so I am going to just roll right into it. We have a special interview for tonight. Bryan Weigel has lined up Zach Blandford, the director of social media for AO Cincy, because we want all of our fans listen to this show to be a little bit more clued in as to what's going down for this U.S. versus Mexico weekend. There's a lot coming at us, fast and furious. First, welcome to the show, Zach.
Thank you. I'm excited for trivia night. This is usually when I do trivia. We're 3-time-in-a-row champions at Mountain Lookout Tavern, so we might have to bring those talents over to Northern Row. We'll see.
Well, I have played there at Mount Lookout. Maybe you beat me in the past.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. So, like, a couple of us media members are getting a team together. So I think it's going to be like me, Pat, Laurel. I'm not very smart, but hopefully they are. And we'll see. I think Snipes is going to be there. I'm trying to rope, Billiam or Boston to come on in. So we'll see.
Some real competition for once. I love that.
Well, tell us, how crazy has the past month been for you? This announcement came fast and furious, and then you have a lot to put together.
Yeah, we sure do. We also got a women's match as soon as we were told that we were getting this match, which was
That's right.
very exciting and a good time, but a lot of work. But it's been great. I'm really excited that this is all coming into our city. I'm from Cincinnati. I've lived here most of my life, so it's very exciting to see all of the work everyone's put in pay off. But it's been a crazy couple of months for me. I'm the social media director, but there are many other things that I help with. So there's been a lot of work going in the last couple of weeks. And we got some exciting stuff coming up and some cool things coming next week. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, well, tell us about that. Tell us the key differences that that you guys have designed, and who's been a part of the whole decision making process to get the events going and lined up and the execution.
Yeah, so we really could not have done any of this, we being AO Cincy, without the help of the supporters community here. I mean, folks from every group have stepped up to help contribute as capos and drummers and painters and designers and event planners and coming to watch parties and all of the things. And input from those local folks and their experiences have been really critical to pulling everything off that we have. And also really helpful to help connect us with the right partners and people who want to help to get the best possible product out there to show off our city to other AO members from around the country, to US Soccer, and to all of our other friends traveling in. So
now I know, like when we did the women's game, we had different events going throughout. Tell us like how you guys are planning. Where does your first event start for American Outlaws? Is it you need painting? Is it the pregame events? What are you guys all kind of including?
Yeah, so our first event is going to be on Thursday night at 6:30, where we're going to start painting our TIFO. And that will also continue on Monday. We'll have 2 nights of that. We've got some other stuff to go along with it that I'm going to keep on the down low here. But if that is a fun tease for you, you could show up and find out what I'm talking about. And so we'll roll from TIFO painting into the night before party on that Thursday at the pitch.
Thursday the 11th?
Yeah, Thursday the 11th at the pitch. US Soccer will have some stuff going on there. We'll be out there. It'll be a great time.
Real quick, I just want to plug that night before party is no joke. Like I went to the one 4 years ago. And Bryan and Brad took me. They were like, "We're going to go a day early. You'll understand why later." And I was just like, "Man, it's a soccer game. Why is
Stone almost jumped off a roof.
Why is it a 2-day event? I didn't understand."
Yeah, it's like no joke.
That's a party.
It's a time and a half. I kind of rolled my eyes initially when we were planning the night before party, because I was like, people are going to fly in the day of the match and they'll show up to stuff and we'll get some people out the night before. But rolling up to Columbus a couple of weeks ago, obviously ours is going to be massive. Mm-hmm. But rolling up to that, it was no joke. It is a real party.
Yep. Yeah, I got guys flying in Thursday afternoon. We're planning to get down there. I don't know if we have to RSVP. I saw some links sent out from US Soccer today saying that we might need to do that, but should be a heck of an event.
Yeah, we saw folks on our social media say that they're flying in from Honolulu, really, doing the classic Hawaii to Cincinnati vacation that we're all very familiar with in November.
Dude, they better bring their coats. Man, I've been to, I think it was a game in February versus USA Mexico, and there's 35 degrees, and oh my God, it was miserable. But it's a home field advantage if we have one.
Yeah. So then after that, we'll have our match day stuff. So obviously Rhinehaus has their black party going on, and then we will have our tailgate at Northern Row starting around 3. I think we're finalizing it this week, and then a march around 7:30 to the match. Same march route as always, just red, white, and blue spoke. Take out the orange, put in the red. Otherwise, it's gonna feel very similar on a massive scale. So it's gonna be really exciting.
So Zach, I mean, just for our listeners here, who maybe don't know you, I'm just gonna brag on you a little bit. Because I've been behind the scenes on a little bit of this. So for people who think he's being, humble or whatever he is, being very humble. He has been the center of a crazy hub wheel, reaching out all different directions to make this happen. He has had his fingers into everything. He has become the liaison to, well, not just the only liaison, but obviously one of them to the national organization, U.S. Soccer, pulling all the strings to make sure that they give us as much latitude as possible, that they trust us. He's built a huge amount of trust with AO National and U.S. Soccer for Cincinnati. And then as well, he mentioned all the supporters being involved, but he has reached out to all of them and been involved in pulling them all together to get, all the best of what we already know how to do here to come into play for this game as well. So, thank you very much for everything you do on that alone. But I will ask you to give us some other advice, because this is not your first rodeo. You've done this a few times. So this game, I don't know that people understand the magnitude of this game, how huge this is, how different this is from any normal game, even our best Cincinnati game. This is a circus and insanity. So what advice could you give to people, right? I mean, just in general, and then obviously the ones who are going to be in the American Outlaws section, right? Who maybe have some expectations, but what can you tell them? What advice can you give them to give them some sense of what's going to happen a week from Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I think leading up to the match, my piece of advice that's a little bit self-serving is to come to stuff. It's all going to be fun. All kinds of people are going to be in town. There's going to be national media. There's going to be all types of supporters, people that you know from Twitter. All of those types of folks are going to be in town. It's going to be a really cool environment for that stuff. I highly recommend coming to whatever you can make it to. And on match day, I think it's the same, bring the energy, bring the enthusiasm, show up to stuff. In the stadium itself, it's probably going to feel a little bit different than a normal match because, like you said, the magnitude is just different, right? And you're not going to see all the normal people in your section. There's going to be a mix of, the folks, people from out of town, people from Hawaii, maybe some Mexico fans. And it's going to be an environment that is unlike anything we've seen at TQL Stadium so far. An environment that we hope to see very soon, but unlike anything we have seen thus far. And just bring your singing voices, yell, sing along with us. You're going to recognize some cheers. You're going to learn some new ones. It's going to be a great time. But really, I mean, I think show up to what you can, join us on the march, bring the energy, bring the enthusiasm. This game is really important. I keep describing it to people as the World Cup, or not the World Cup, the Super Bowl of American soccer. It's just that type of scale for our sport. And I keep describing it to local people as it's when the All-Star game came to Cincinnati, that type of scale and national attention and people in town and events around the game. So, I mean, my biggest piece of advice is just take it in, be prepared for stuff to be big and loud and fun, and come out to what you can.
And we need your participation. You have to cheer. No sitting down. We need you there. I mean, it's unbelievable how raucous, there might be 1,000 Mexico fans there. It's amazing how crazy loud they'll be. I mean, we need to come at it and really show what Cincinnati has to offer.
Yeah, and to give a little bit of insight into how loud it's going to be, we are trying to figure out how to fit all of the drums we have into the drum platform.
There we go.
Because we have arguably too many drums. So I think that is a good problem to have.
Sorry, Bill.
Never too many drums. Never too many drums. No, I think we estimate 16 drums for this?
Yeah, I think we're going to have between 16 and 18 drums and about the same amount of capos spread throughout the section. So it's going to be loud.
It's loud. I think it'll be different for FC Cincinnati fans that have been to some of the matches this year, because it's going to be on par with that. I think the only thing I can throw at it is those old US Open Cup games versus the Crew and the Fire. That's the level, but bring it up a little bit more. It surprised me when I went to my first US Mexico game. I was like, oh my goodness, this is it. This is awesome. And everything from the night before party to the game day to walking around the parking lot, because you tailgated a lot more in Columbus, but walking around that parking lot and just seeing all the people from all the different cities that are now your best friends because you're cheering for the same team. Normally they would come for an away game or something else, but you're merging with all of these people, all for the same cause. It is special.
Yeah. Again, Zach, if you don't mind, I know you touched on it a little bit here again. We keep talking about get involved. Please highlight again where these guys can get involved, beforehand.
Yeah, so something that's going to be fun and also incredibly helpful to us is that we've got Thursday and Monday paint nights. Both of those are going to be at 6:30, November 4th and 8th. That's going to be us putting together our TIFO and all of the corresponding stuff to go in there. So we can pull that out. We've got a really exciting design, and I'm very excited to paint it and pull it off, but we need all the help we can get. I've heard a rumor that there might be pizza there. Rumor being, I know that there's probably going to be pizza there. So if that helps, as I learned when I organized events in college, often the pizza helps. That'll be great. And that is going to be a place where we really, really need help. I can't emphasize enough how much we appreciate anyone that can come out. I have zero artistic skill in the visual arts. I'm much more of a mediocre musician, shall we say. But even I can paint. So everyone can do it. We love any help we can get. We'd love to see you all out for that. And then we celebrate the success of our painting by going to the night before party that following Thursday, and then the tailgate, and then the match. So
I wanted to throw this out there because if I didn't get tickets, I had already decided I was going to go to some of this stuff. Like in the game day, I was going to just go down for the game day because the atmosphere is amazing. If someone's not going to the match, they can still do any of this stuff, right?
Oh yeah, come out to our tailgate. Come out to the Rhinehaus block party. We've got deals worked out with the pitch and Taglio, and we've been talking to Rhinehaus. I know that there's events going on with Norden at the Symphony Hotel where they always hold their events. But there's going to be stuff all over. Come down for stuff, do the march, come up the steps, and then head across the street to any of the many events and over the Rhine in the West End and enjoy the match that way, and then celebrate a knocking on the wood of my desk victory afterwards with all of us too.
You know what I'm really excited to see? I'm really excited to see Zach Blandford at like 9:30 that Friday after all these events, and to see if he's still bringing it. I have a feeling you're Mr. High Energy. You'll be able to bring it, even though if you're several beers into this.
Yeah, and I work in politics in my full-time job, and tomorrow happens to be election day, so there is quite a bit going on in my world right now. But we got plenty of energy to go around, and then I might just go into hibernation until the holidays. We'll see what happens there.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, man. Real quick, where can our listeners find information about AO Cincy and directly about any more details, addresses for these different events?
Yeah, so we'll have more graphics coming soon. We'll have a graphic for the night before party and for the tailgate, and a graphic showing the march route. Like I said, it's going to be the same one that you're used to on all of our social media platforms. That'll be at AO Cincy on Twitter, as well as our Instagram and Facebook. I'm constantly pushing out stuff there, so you'll see times and dates and locations for all of that. Just to mention one more time that we have paint nights coming up on Thursday and Monday. That'll be at the warehouse across from the Workhorse Gate and the team store at 6:30. Those graphics are already online, but there'll be a lot more to come on our social channels on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So that is the best place.
Well, thanks again for coming on. We will get something on our website here soon as well, just to push people your way and make sure everybody knows exactly where they're going.
If you're listening to the show on a podcast, they are listed. Everything's listed in our show notes.
Yeah. So that's the quick place, but we'll definitely get some stuff running out before the week, especially with our events as well, which we'll have some more later. But we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, happy to come on. I will see some of you on Sunday to finish out this season. Question mark.
I like that. That's the best way you could have said it too. All right. Well,
thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Talk to y'all soon.
Well, we thank him for coming on again. AO Cincy really stepping up. They have got some big games, and I know this one is going to be just as big, if not bringing it more with the lessons they've learned from the women's game.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, I did want to thank all of our sponsors and supporters on Patreon that bring it every single week and month so that we can keep this thing running. CST is free, and it has been since its inception for all fans, but we appreciate those that give to make it so. We want to give a special shout out to Reilly, John Davidson, Mike Hudson, Robert Stevens, Laurel Failer, Matthew Adamczyk, Buddy Taylor, Riley Stephen Burke, James Denbro, Tom Newhouse, Brian Weigel, Brian Gillis, Dan Avers, Will Kachek, Ian Rexroad, Augustus Caceres, Bill Antonitis, Carl Feit, Jeremy Schran, Kyle Pohl, Christina Sharma, Rupesh, Mike, Tom Berzendorf, Jason, who is super average, John Haskell, Ryan Ernst, Mary Lou, Wes
Anastasi,
Rob Pierce, and our newest, and thank you so much, the man that listens every week live and offers some great commentary, Clifford Adams. Thanks for being our newest patron, and we really appreciate it. And it helps a lot. It helps keep the bills paid and the show running. So thank you again. We have to keep moving, though. We have a star-studded event here. And next up, we have Aaron. And Aaron, you might have to help me here. Is it Cole?
Colehep.
Oh, all right. I think I got it right off the bat. That's rare for me.
Nice.
Just a truly rare feat, actually.
But it's rare for most people. So
yeah, you are a partner at some of my favorite places because I'm a Rhinehaus fan, but I lived above Nation for 2 years, and they were some of the best 2 years of my life.
Very nice. Like to hear it.
So
yeah, we're as Zach mentioned, they're working on different deals with different restaurants. So we're gonna do a deal at Nation also.
Oh wow, you're speaking my language now. But we have kind of this really, really cool thing with you guys. I mean, you were already doing a cool thing, and then we just said, hey, can we make it cooler? But can you share info on your block party?
Yeah, absolutely. So if any of you are Liverpool or Tottenham fans, we did this, or just soccer fans in general, Champions League. So we did this 2 years ago for the Tottenham Liverpool Champions League final. Basically, we shut down Clay Street, which, if you're not familiar with Rhinehaus, it's the street right next to us. Runs pretty much the full length of our building. So, I mean, knowing Rhinehaus only fits 100 people or so, and that's generous and very uncomfortable at times. It's nice to be able to basically double to triple our size by being able to shut down the street. So yeah, we're partnering with Streetside Brewing, our brewery, and so they're going to have a couple of their beer trucks out to help us block off the street. We'll be pouring beers from Streetside. We'll also have your normal domestic cans too, and then we have a taco truck, Los Cuñados. If anyone knows the Hyde Park area, he's always parked at the BP state. He has a permanent spot at the BP at the corner of Madison and Edwards. So yeah, we reached out to him. While of course we won't be cheering for Mexico, we thought, hey, let's at least bring in some Mexican fare for the event.
Well, we're very excited to partner with you. CST is going to be having a live show right as the doors, I guess the proverbial doors, open to this block party right at noon down at Rhinehaus. So please come out, join us, grab some wonderful beers, grab some great food, and coming out and kind of have this as the start of, I guess, the day. And while bars and all stuff aren't always kid friendly, this does have a little bit of an aspect to being, sort of family friendly, being outside in OTR, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, it will be, yes, family friendly, kid friendly. Friendly, we'll use that term loosely. As I mean, you guys know what bars are like. You know what Rhinehaus is like. You know what the Bailey's like. So how friendly is it to kids sometimes? Yeah, but I mean, we really appreciate you guys reaching out and wanting to do this. I've had this concern of like, what, we're going to open at noon, but is anyone going to show up at noon? So you guys reaching out and wanting to do this kickoff show right at noon really makes me feel good about, what's going to happen. And then hearing Zach tell stories about people coming in from Hawaii. My brother's in San Francisco. He has friends coming into town, and like there's so many people that just don't even have tickets that just want to be here. So we're excited.
It should be a great event. We're going to have several special guests. Adnan Elias from SB Nation Stars and Stripes FC is going to be there. We're having representatives from AO National. They're going to be there. We're trying to get a to be named player there, but it should be a great event, tying in a little bit of FC Cincinnati and the U.S. men's national team match to Rhinehaus. So I know you said we have expanded hours that Saturday. Are you guys, I guess, still going to be carrying any international games throughout that whole weekend?
Yeah, I mean, as usual, we'll be open as early as 7 a.m. on weekends for Premier League matchups. Yeah, we're always ready for everybody. And yeah, one thing I didn't mention. So actually, we're not just going to be a pre-party before the game. I mean, we're going to have an inflatable projection screen out there too. So if you don't have tickets to the match, I like to think will be a great spot to watch the game.
No, that's awesome. That's good to hear. I think there will be a lot of people down there. I was one of them. I didn't know if I was going to get tickets, and I said I'm partying regardless. Right. So good to hear that. That is a good spot. Check it out at noon. If you are working, just tell your boss sorry, you're out the door. If they say no, just go ahead and walk out anyway. It's worth it to come see us and hang out. I'm not known for my great advice, but that's good advice. But yeah, check it out. We have the live show noon, officially to 1:15. I think, is that when we hand the reins back over to Aaron?
We're just gonna see how it goes. But yeah, we're gonna do as best we can for that. So keep it about 60 minutes or so, depending on when we get kicked off. But I think what we said to Aaron, we want this to be the kickoff of the day, and I can't imagine a better place to kick off the day than the country's best soccer bar. There's no doubt. I mean, this Rhinehaus was a pivotal moment of our club, with John Harkes and Jeff Birding and all those guys coming there. And then there's another part in the MLS bid. Don Garber was there. Twellman was there. I mean, this is a cornerstone event for our city, and there's no better partner to have than Rhinehaus.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. When Harkes left, our sales took a little bit of a hit. He's missed. But yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate hearing that. I mean, we opened in 2013, and we opened to an empty bar many Saturday and Sundays in a row, but we knew we had to stick with it. I remember going to Cincinnati Saints games early on and seeing the crowd there and being impressed by that, and goodness, to what it's turned into. It's just been really impressive, and we're so humbled and honored when, I don't think of ourselves as a part of that for some reason, but to hear people say that, it really means a lot. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and you guys go check out Rhinehaus OTR on Twitter, social medias, get all information there, and we'll be seeing you in a little bit more than a week.
Absolutely, can't wait. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
And thanks, Aaron, for coming on. It's been a guest episode. Brian Weigel did a great job of lining this up for us. I tell you what I'm going to need, though, Brian, that day. Some Suero X. It's the only way I'm making it through that day. Rehydrate, 0 sugar, 0 calories, the power of 8 ions. Speed up your recovery time. Helps replenish those ions you lose during the day. It is actually pretty good stuff, and it's really good for a day when you're out drinking. Trust me. CST tested in that regard, and they were awesome enough to send it to many members of our staff. So we have tested it, and we do recommend.
They're sponsors of the Las Vegas Lights now too.
Yeah, I saw that this week. I said, "Whoa, these guys are getting out there." Who knows how many other USL MLS teams they've got lined in their pockets now? I thought, hey, we were the first. Just remember, we were the first.
Yeah, I think we're all definitely gonna need some Suero X that day, especially if we start with the boozy at noon. So it'll be fun.
Oh, you mean the night before?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's gonna be a good time. I know we talked a lot about this, and I'm sure we'll touch on some more FC Cincinnati things. But the one thing I feel like we've lost a little bit in our history over the past couple of years is when and you made mention of it with the U.S. Open Cup matches, how we felt like we were a part of the game. If we didn't cheer, we felt like we were letting the guys down on the field. And I feel like this event is going to recapture that a little bit. Maybe kind of give us a little shake about what we're here for and what we do, why we do what we do. So I can't wait, man. We got a lot coming next week. We're going to be involved. I'm sure I'm going to be pretty wiped on Saturday, but man, it's going to be special.
Yeah, I agree. Nate, we haven't heard from you in a while. I know we just took off with guests here, but you going to be able to make any of this stuff, you think?
Yeah, I was just I should have been taking notes. I'm coming back Tuesday, but now it looks like my schedule's full. I'll be super excited just to be downtown for all this. It'll be my first time at TQL Stadium, which should be great. I mean, it looks fantastic on TV, but it'll be an actually I don't want to say competitive, but it should be it'll be a more important game. So I'm super excited to be down there. It sounds like all week now, and then to love Rhinehaus. I somehow end up there most times I'm back in town. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. Sounds great.
Awesome. Yep. We're looking forward to having all of you, our listeners, and just feel free to take it as you want. This is one of those things where you don't have to make everything, but just take in as much as you can that week. That's really my advice, and to bring your family, your kids to those paint nights. There's stuff for everybody to do. It's really neat. All right, Bryan, do we have anything else in US related, or do you want to jump back into FCC land?
Well, yeah, I kind of wanted to jump back into FCC land, and I kind of wanted to throw it back to Nate, if you don't mind here, Boston. I know there's been a lot of concern about our goalkeepers lately, and you wrote an absolutely tremendous piece about how our goalkeeper union has affected the product. Everybody, every time I feel like we see the lineup, oh, why is Vermeer playing, or oh, TT, or free Ben Lunt? Give us a little bit of a background on really how unfortunate our keeper play has been this year.
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it. I think explaining some of the stuff is easier, especially when you delve into some of the more advanced analytics. So like the piece is pretty, or cites heavily something called post-shot expected goals. So basically, any time any shot on target is assessed for how likely it's going to be a goal. And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I think between 2019 and 2021, and not even through the end of the season, FC Cincinnati keepers have allowed something like almost 35 goals more than they should have, based on the expected goals tally. So if you look at the other side, and I think this has a little bit of or more than a little bit of a U.S. national team tie-in, New England is number one in this metric, largely because Matt Turner is just such a phenomenal shot stopper. And I think we've seen that in qualifying, and that's part of the reason why he is, might be the U.S.'s number one right now. So the level of play that New England gets from their keeper is just so many levels higher than what FCC has gotten. And even, the difference between the second to worst team in MLS, the gap between them and New England at number one is about the same difference between FCC and second to last in the league. So,
wow.
I think this, obviously it's bad. And you want your keepers to be doing more, but on the bright side, this should be a relatively easy fix, or maybe not an easy fix, but even if you get, let's say, slightly below average shot stopping in the next couple of years, you're going to concede a lot fewer goals. So this could be an easy upgrade solution for Chris Albright that could actually impact the team on the field next year.
So I looked at your chart, and I agree with a lot of it. The keeper's obviously been a problem. It didn't matter which one has been in. It's just been difficult. But David Moore asked a good question. How much is this keeper play versus the 10 guys in front of that? If I'm Jack Stern, I'm going to fight you on this and be like, no, it's not my guy's fault. It's the rest of the game. That's what's the matter.
Yeah, so I think the nice thing about this statistic is that it tries to take into account all of that. So it's assessing the quality of the shots. So over that same time period, FC Cincinnati goalkeepers have faced essentially the same value of shots that the Portland Timbers keepers have. So it's like 144 post shot expected goals. And FC Cincinnati's keepers are like -35, and Portland's goalkeepers are like +11. So that's a huge swing in a number of goals, or in three. Granted, it's over 3 seasons, but Portland is a legitimate playoff team and has faced essentially the same number or the same quantity of dangerous chances that FCC has.
All right, that's fair enough. So basically, if I'm hearing you right, FCC's taken about as many good shots
with their opponents. Yeah.
On a base level, you know, I know we talk about TT versus Vermeer and Ben Lunt. I mean, Vermeer's the worst in the league, and Teton is like what, third, fourth? I think is like what Vermeer averages like what, half a goal.
Yeah. So
half a goal per 90.
I was, like I said, I was not intending to write about this, but you know, the more I looked into it, I was actually just sitting at my desk, kind of laughing just at the futility of it. I think the best FC Cincinnati keeper in terms of shot stopping over a season was Spencer Ritchie. And I think of like 90 something qualified keepers, he had the 76th best shot stopping season.
Still wasn't great.
Yes. FCC keepers have 4 of the bottom 5 shot stopping seasons in the league since 2019.
That makes sense. I think they've had most goals allowed two of those 3 seasons. So yeah, that makes sense. Numbers add up there. All right. Well, I wanted to mention this real quick because, and I did hear some of you mention it at the top of the show, but was the loss to Nashville the most painful loss this year for FC Cincinnati? And I kind of want to know just your opinion, because we played Columbus twice, and you've played other heartbreakers. There's been some close games at home. There was the one before Nashville where we tied 3-3 and then lost 1 red at the end. So what's your heartbreaker of the season and why? I'll just go around the horn.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think that Minnesota game in year 1 was probably one of the most painful, but I've never ever watched a game and just felt dead inside. Like, I mean, literally, like my eyes are just open, like, is this really happening? And it happened in Nashville. I think last week we said, like, you can't get beat by Nashville. And like the first 30 minutes, I like on Twitter, I put like, man, Tyrone Marshall, like, holy cow. It's amazing how you got your group up off the mat after that devastating Miami loss. And then we just let it go away and lose this match 6-3. So it has to at least be top 2 worst losses in our history.
I think for me, you know, if you had asked me a month ago, I would have said the Columbus home game this season.
The draw.
Yeah. I mean, just, you know, so devastating how it happened. But I think the thing is at that point in time, right, we were almost every game, it felt like sort of in it. A lot of times we would have an opportunity to win and then we'd give it up or tie or whatever. So you kind of got to expecting it a little bit, I would say. This is going to sound really funny, but after so many losses where we've not really felt like we've been in games for a while, I sort of forgot what it felt like to have hope. And I think that's where Nashville really stung. Again, it was a rival. Again, it was at home. Again, it was that sense of hope and elation of thinking, oh my gosh, this team is actually going to pull something off here. And then just to see it crumble, and not even just, you know, it wasn't like we lost, like, I don't even remember the game at the moment, but you know, we're literally in the last 30 seconds of the game, right, where that goal goes in and we end up losing the game 3-2 or whatever that was. This was just dramatic, like somebody just, you know, kicked the house of cards in the bottom, and it just goes everywhere. And it was just such a disaster to watch those four goals go in, unanswered. Actually, I guess 5 if you count the one at the end of the first half. So, I mean, it was just so frustrating to go from that high to just see that team completely fall apart. So it was kind of in the realm of that Minnesota type of drubbing. I know it wasn't 7-1, it was 6-3 or whatever, but in the end, it was still a complete and devastating fall apart. And in this one, what made it worse for me was that sense of hope, that forgetting of what it felt like to give up. So,
Nate, you had the post match. You probably had the closer eye on it than all of us.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I had the post match on the Philly match.
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and maybe that's my initiation and my first season with on staff here, having to write the recap of the record breaking loss. I'm proud to do it. Good to have that byline in my pocket. I think for me the most devastating match, and a different perspective, just because I haven't been at TQL. I think it's the Miami home opener. Come back to tie it with a dramatic goal and then just concede immediately.
That was better.
I definitely agree that the I had some hope during the Nashville match, but that Cincinnati sports certainty that everything's going to go wrong has crept back up into me watching FCC lately, or just this season, or always. So, I wasn't surprised when it happened, but that Miami match, just at the start of what could have been, was a real kick in the teeth.
Yeah, I felt bad for the Cincinnati fans that said, "Oh well, at least we have Joey Burrow the next day," and the Bengals dropped one. That was a bad weekend for sports fans this weekend. I was okay. I got a little bit apathetic in the Nashville game. I wasn't expecting to win it. I fought with Brian Weigel about how it didn't matter anyway last week. And so I kind of went into that game with it doesn't matter attitude, even though I hate Nashville and their fans and everything about that side of Tennessee. I'm from Knoxville, so I have to say that. Seeing what Bill mentioned at the top of the show, seeing them down at the end of the game, partying with their players behind the other goal. They all had escaped the top section at that point, and we're down at the bottom because our fans had left, obviously, by the 6-3 in that section they had. So that's when I got mad, just because I hate seeing Nashville fans happy. And maybe I'm just a bitter old man, but that's where I kind of got, all right, this is the worst for me, because no one has partied in our stadium like that ever. Not even Columbus. Columbus was contained, and we didn't have to see it. And so that was the now I want to do it to them. I want to go to Nashville next year and be good enough that we can shove it in their faces, and I'm going to stay there for 2 hours and party. Well, that is that, and we will move on to maybe happier topics. It depends what your final thoughts are, guys.
Sure.
But Bill Wolf, thanks for coming back on, man. We have missed you, and you were very insightful.
Yeah, I missed you guys too. So it's good to be back. So what my final thought is, that my cue?
Yeah, that's your cue.
Okay. So I'm going to flip back around a little bit to the national story again, because that's the happy one. Obviously it's been a rough season. Obviously, we can say from an FCC fan standpoint, it's been depressing and heartbreaking in general. But I think what's really kind of come out of these two national team games, and I know we haven't had the Mexico game yet, but just all the lead up to it, is I think Cincinnati is still proving to this nation that we are a soccer city. I mean, it's not that, our team is winning. That's that makes it easy, right? Fans show up when teams win, but our fans are still showing up when our team is losing. And then on top of that, we put on one heck of a show for the women's national team. And I can tell you that the men's game is going to be even more so, reflecting the importance of that game, right? It's a World Cup qualifier. So, I mean, it's been really refreshing, the energy in that. And it's been really exciting to see people outside of Cincinnati and how they feel about us, even though we look down on ourselves at times because we're looking at our team and the performance of our team. Our city and what we do on the national stage is still highly regarded. And, the women have already said they want to come back. They had a great time. And, I think the men are going to be equally amazed at what we can pull off. And, I think it's just going to be, Cincinnati is going to be the destination for U.S. soccer going forward. And I think we will be proving that in a week and a half.
It's a bold statement. That's awesome to hear, though, about the U.S. women. I had not heard that yet. I missed that game, unfortunately. So that's great. Thanks for your insight there, Bill.
Yep.
Nate, first show. Everything. Wheels are still on the train, man. So congratulations.
Yeah, we made it. Yeah. So, just as we're wrapping up this 2021 season, that, in a lot of cases is one to forget. I would just encourage everybody to keep some perspective. I know it might not be a quick turnaround, but 3 straight wooden spoons. You can literally only go up from here. I think with some marginal upgrades on this team, and a couple smart signings, we could recapture some of that magic at TQL Stadium. And compete. I'm not saying competing for a playoff spot, but I think the road goes up from here. And since we brought the Chris Albright from Philadelphia, I'm ready to trust the process for a little bit, to steal a Phillyism, and to see what happens this offseason. I wouldn't say this was the healthiest hobby I could have picked up during the pandemic, caring about FC Cincinnati so much. But I've had a lot of fun doing it, and interacting with people on Twitter or reading comments to anything I post. So we'll have a little bit of time to recharge, but then we'll be back and ready for free agent signings and transfer rumors and the super draft. But yeah, just happy to be here, and looking forward to being on more often.
We appreciate your hard work. And if you see Nate Gilman tagged in a article link, go check it out. It's way smarter.
Going to be really good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. That's just how we put some effort into that one.
And if you're around downtown for the US lead up to US Mexico, and you want to talk about some really nerdy soccer stuff, I'd be more than happy to.
There you go. Find Nate. Hunt him down, people. Mr. Bryan Weigel.
All right, who's ready for a speech? No, I'm joking. Real quick, I know we've still seen a lot of people kind of going at each other on Twitter. I know there's not a lot of ways for us to direct our anger out at people, or really the responsible people. So I think you've seen it. We've gotten messages to our feedback email account that people have kind of stopped interacting with others on social media. And I hate that, because FC Cincinnati, why I thought it was great is because I got to meet so many new people and interact with so many people and have fun meeting new people every week at games. So I just encourage you to take a step back. I know we've learned our lessons in how we deal with people. And we're not always perfect, but hopefully we try to be better. So I just encourage you to do that. Second topic, I've seen a lot of you say we are the worst team in MLS history. We are not the worst team in MLS history. 2013 DC United had 16 points through 34 games. Unfortunately, they were the US Open Cup champion that year, so whatever that means. 2001 Tampa Bay Mutiny had a 0.52 points per game, and 2005 Chivas USA had 0.563. So we will be better than all three of those teams. So not the worst team in MLS history. Couple things. We're going to have a lot of information coming to you guys in the next week and a half covering the U.S. men's national team game. We're going to have a special, I think, this week when the roster drops. My former co-host of Watching MLS with the Ginger and Joe Rancio is going to join me to break that roster down, work on some preview stuff for that match. So please stay tuned. We're going to have Adnan Ilyas involved from Stars and Stripes FC, the SB Nation site. So go check that out as well. So we got a lot for you. And Boston, it looks like we might have a new staff member coming to Cincinnati Soccer Talk in the short future. So FC Cincinnati, former FC Cincinnati center back Sem DeWitt is going to be working into the staff here in the next couple of weeks. He's playing in Spain right now, so be a little patient with him getting involved. But we're very excited. We put the call out to get people involved. Had some great new faces. Jason, Jeremy, of course, Nate's been writing here for a while. Sem, and then I think we might have a couple others. So very appreciative of those who reached out, and just want to let you know that we are trying to revamp Cincinnati Soccer Talk for the future. And with Coach and Justin. We hope Sem can also be a really positive influence in bringing another aspect to the game. So, we appreciate your support and hope to provide some great things in the next, calendar year, 2022.
That's right. We had Michael Justin Hoyt, Sem DeWitt.
Big time, Michael LaHoo, baby.
It's getting pretty crowded around here in a good way. And so we appreciate Sem DeWitt we're flattered by his interest, honestly, and it'll be awesome having him and his views, his takes on CST and FC Cincinnati and MLS soccer in general. But we have reached the end. My producer is holding her cat paws up demandingly in the show, and I pay attention to her. So I guess all good things must stop, and I'd like to thank our star cast, Bryan, Beowulf, and newly mic'd up Nate Gilman for sharing their thoughts today. Drink some Swearo X, support local soccer. See you next week. And from the grave, watch your tackles.